Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and look, it's my regular chat moderator, and also just happens to be my son, Jason. How's it going, Jason?
Going pretty good.
I forgot to check the screen before we started, so everybody just give me a minute, because the green is going to drive me insane all night long. This is from our stream over the weekend where we finished Smallville Season 6, and Jason, we're well past the halfway point now, so that's exciting.
That is exciting. Is that a good season?
We liked it better than 4 and 5, but I still had a lot of complaints.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I said this on stream, like, oh, that's a different shade. That's all right. We'll just go with that. Maybe the shade's a little better. Nope, that's wrong. That's just fundamentally incorrect. See if we can lighten it up a little bit here. Well, it's still a little off. That's all right. It's close enough. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. No, I was trying not to be a horrible downer on that stream, but I was like, we're past the stuff I really cared about with that show and the place where it lost me while it was on, and I still had that. Going back to it and doing it live with John. Just the sheer amount of over-the-top soap opera. There's fun, really silly stuff in it if you want to watch it on the level of, just plain ridiculous. But, I wish I kind of miss when I could take that show a little bit more seriously and then appreciate just the silly stuff kind of, throughout. But the, I don't know, it just gets to a point where it's like, yeah, I've kind of said everything I have to say about the show, and so I'm trying to keep it as interesting as I can as we go. When we get into more of the superhero stuff, it'll probably start to feel a little bit fresh again. John keeps saying that 7 is the worst season, and it's been a long time since I've seen any of that, and I'm sure there are episodes I missed even because I had just completely lost interest by that point. So it'll be interesting to go back through that with them. I love Laura Vandervoort, though. I'm excited to see her again as Supergirl. But the whole Clark isn't able to fly, but she can thing, and they're making it a big dramatic plot point, it just throws him under the bus and makes him look like an idiot. Like, it's terrible. There's a place where, maybe it's not till the next season, I can't remember, but there's a place where she gets kidnapped and he can't rescue her because he can't fly. Anyway, welcome everybody. Thanks a lot for tuning in to the Captain Logan Show. Tonight we're going to chat about new announcements and somewhat cryptic announcements, at least one of them, from James Gunn and the new DCU. A couple new movies, Jason. One animated, one part of the DCU proper. Although it's hard to tell if any of the animated stuff is also going to fit or at least like animated movies, are also going to fit in the DCU continuity, because the show they're doing in December, why can't I think of it right now? The monster show they're doing, that's supposed to be in their continuity, and it's like officially sort of the first thing in the DCU, but like the real first thing is actually Superman. James Gunn keeps saying, but like it counts, it's in there. So anyway, we're going to talk about those things. We've got one trailer to talk about tonight that I'm sure Jason's kind of excited to bring up. Ballerina.
Dang it! I forgot.
John Wick. Did you forget about that?
I forgot to watch it.
Oh, you haven't seen it yet?
I didn't.
Oh,
see
I thought you did
No.
watch it. Okay, well then maybe I'll table that, or maybe I'll just mention a thing or two. Well,
We'll talk about it in the second half, and I'll watch it during the break.
oh, we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be all right. Creature Commandos, thanks, Austin. Yeah, I just couldn't think of it right then. You can tell I'm just really excited about that. Yeah, I can't get excited about that show. Austin's excited about it. Well, I imagine I'll watch at least the pilot. Maybe we'll do a how we felt about, but that just conceptually is not immediately my thing or anything. But anyway, as always, feel free to ask us stuff throughout the show. We're going to do an Ask Me Anything segment in the second half. And if you ask anything that's not related to the news at the beginning, we'll table that for later. But go ahead and get those in, and we'll make a list and hit everything later on. If you want to make sure that your question, concern, idea is discussed, you can leave a super chat in any dollar amount, and that guarantees, of course, that we'll talk about your topic on the program. And leave regular questions in the comments, tagging Jason at Geekvolution Hoodie at Video Game Secrets.
Yeah, I got it back out because it's
I'm about to get cold.
Yeah,
It was not cold today.
it wasn't, but
But it is cool enough in the
cool
bunker.
enough. Yeah, and it's cool enough to wear this. So
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to chat with everybody. I'm having a hard time getting into the swing of this because we're starting so late. It's like I'm so used to 7:00. It's like a weird time. I feel like it's like midnight already. So we gotta liven things up here, Jason.
Yeah.
We gotta really get into things. Jason's dance studio is always messing with my schedule.
yeah,
They'll schedule random things in the middle of the week, just a few days ahead, and I don't mean to complain. I'm glad that Jason has that extracurricular and he loves dance and it's been great for him. But it'll kind of wreck an evening I had planned, and I'll have to put things off or change it to different times, and that's why we're starting at the very odd time of 8:30 Central tonight.
yeah, that's okay.
But we're still gonna do our full 2-hour show.
Yeah, I can do it.
Can you do it?
Yeah, we can do it.
It's only a half hour past when you usually go to bed.
Right, and I was fine.
I mean, not the beginning.
We stayed up a little bit last night, so I'm kind of in swing of staying. Like, I don't want to be say oh, I'm in the swing of staying up, but it's like I know that I can handle it.
We worked on movie stuff last night.
Yeah.
Hey, just real briefly, let's talk for a second about the status of the movie. Kind of give people a status update.
Sure.
Jason and we weren't able to film last night because some of our crew couldn't be there, but Jason and I had kind of a meeting to figure out what props we had left to buy and what scenes we had left to shoot. And Jason, about how much of the movie would you say that we've gotten shot by now?
I would say half.
I think it's better than half.
I think it's better than half.
I think it's closer to 65, 70% actually.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
I mean, especially since we looked at, you made a Google Doc about all the scenes that we had left, and it was only 6 things, and one of them was a big shoot.
It was 9 or 10, but
it was
some of it was kind of little pickups,
little things
like that. Now, to be fair, one of those is a 20-page scene.
Right.
So, I mean, we haven't shot much of the climax yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's some still huge logistical things to do, and we have one major character. I play multiple characters in the movie because I'm playing different versions of myself, of Captain Logan, and there's one version that we've not put a frame of on screen yet that we're about to start getting into. Yeah. That we just got the costume together for.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a piece for that costume that is probably in my mailbox.
I completely
right
forgot.
now that I got to pull out.
I completely forgot. We haven't even shot with him yet.
We haven't shot with him yet.
We've been figuring out costume and stuff and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like we haven't even shot with him yet.
No, I haven't acted as him yet.
Like
we still don't 100% know even like what his difference in voice and mannerisms and stuff will be yet.
We've worked on it a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
But I haven't moved in it yet.
Right.
I don't totally know how he moves yet.
Yeah.
We're being really cryptic right now, but we're hoping to be able to show you guys the movie by the end of this year or at the latest early next year, January, February. It's hard to say how long it'll take. I say that. It's hard to say how long it'll take to edit and how long it'll take to score.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a perfect world, I'd like to get everything filmed by December.
Yeah.
And then it's just a matter of how long will it take to edit. So I don't know. This year might be too ambitious, but it will not be too far into next year before we can show it to you guys. Anyway, Anime Fan, will you do a review of your own film on an episode of Superhero Rewind? You know what? That's not the first time we've been asked that. People keep asking that question.
Really?
Yeah. And the answer to that is stay tuned. Yeah. I think that's the only thing I can say about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think
yes.
That's a good answer.
You'd think I would just say no, and I want to just say no, but the answer is more complicated than that. More complicated so I have to say stay tuned. Yes, indeed. Okay, Jason, why don't you throw us a Patreon question?
Sure.
And a quick plug for Patreon, patreon.com/geekvolution. The $2 tier gives you access to or allows you, to ask us questions for this show ahead of time, and everybody gets to ask one a month, and we still have quite a few left from last month, so we'll get, or at least, a few, 2, 3, 4.
We have 1, 2...
So, some.
3, 4.
Okay, so we'll get those knocked out, hopefully tonight,
I think we can
if not by next week, but I'll go ahead and put out feelers pretty soon for October. It's weird we're already into this month. Like, I'm not there yet. My head is still very much in September.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about a thing that I don't think your head will ever be in.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. So exciting.
John Matthew McLean. He asks, what if
That's McLean. It's like Die Hard.
Oh, like that.
But his name is actually John McLean.
That's great.
He didn't name himself because of Die Hard? That's his actual
great.
name.
That's awesome.
Anyway. Yeah, thanks, John.
Does he get hurt in bathrooms?
Does he have to crawl over broken glass?
Yeah, I don't know. He asks, what if you had the chance to write Top Gun 3?
I'd give it to anyone else. I feel like the least qualified possible person to write Top Gun 3. Now, the question is, does he mean if you had the chance, would you do it? Or what? I'm sure what he really means is, what would you put in that movie?
Yeah.
Like, what is possibly left for Top Gun 3? I feel like the answer to that... it's an experimental space plane.
Yeah, they go to space.
Yeah, and that movie is supposed to happen, is it not?
I think so.
I feel like they've been talking about that, which I get it. That was really popular. You strike while the iron's hot, but it's so disjointed to have like 30 plus years in between two movies, and then your second, especially when your second movie is that good, you almost don't want to. Not even almost. I would think you wouldn't want to rock the boat. I would think you wouldn't want to mess with that, and even chance like having a trilogy that ends on a down note, given that nobody ever asked for even a sequel to that, and it had no business being as good as it is. Like, that movie is incredible. Like it's better than the original, I think, and it's shocking that that's the case.
Yeah.
And I've always had kind of story issues or like minor story issues with the first movie. I don't even think it's like a great script. I think Tom Cruise is amazing in it, and I think that's a lot of what puts it as over the top as it does. But that second movie actually has a killer script. It's a really good story.
Yeah.
And you know, of course, all the stunts and the plane work and all the, you know, practical effects. The movie's gorgeous. Like, and I've only seen it once. I'd like to watch it again. It's not even my thing, but it's really good.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, what I want to say is, if I had, I'm not going to say if I had a chance to write that, but I don't know what I would do, like, story-wise with a Top Gun 3. I feel like if I had command of the universe and you were going to make another one of those movies, I would say you have to wait another 30 years.
Yeah.
But then it's like, is it even Tom Cruise at that point? like I guess
80-year-old Tom Cruise.
Then you get into like a Harrison Ford kind of plays, Indiana Jones kind of plays.
Fly some planes.
Yeah, but he's not going to be on a walker when he's 80. He's going to still be like Tom Cruise will die flying off of a plane that he's holding on the side of. Yeah. That's how that guy goes. So I don't know. I'm going to cop out. I have no idea what you do with that movie.
I
wouldn't have had any ideas for a sequel. I would have thought that there wasn't even really any point in doing that.
Yeah, I have no idea. I feel like you would like maybe host some sort of competition inside a movie, like someone hosts some sort of competition, and then you go from there. Some sort of that.
Yeah, that's not bad. Or you do some sort of revisionist history thing where where like planes are so or like the the typical Air Force is so out of it feels so pointless now because you have drones and things that we actually just shut the whole division down. Like we don't do that at all anymore. And
then Tom Cruise is trying to get planes back.
Yeah, That's silly.
And I have no idea. He tries to fly a drone and he's like, "Oh, this sucks."
Which all he says is give it to Sarah. Yeah. But I don't even think Sarah would have like a story idea for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about the news, shall we? Okay, so this is the big thing this week everybody's been talking about. By the way, there's one article, if we can get to it, that I meant to talk about last week. We actually had a few news items that we didn't get to last week because I was just too long-winded on the first couple of, opening topics. But we'll get to that later. Hopefully we can hit everything tonight. But anyway, the big thing everybody's talking about this week... sorry, I gotta fix this real quick. We had to jump on so quick. I'm not even fully prepared this week. My apologies. Let me get this on the screen. At least it's not just a black screen right now. Okay, so this is from Screen Rant, the Bane and Deathstroke movie. So this is the way everybody is talking about this. All we really know is that there's supposed to be a movie, like a movie was announced, or I should even say the idea of Deathstroke and Bane both being in a movie together was announced.
Okay.
Now I'm assuming that this is a new movie and not one that is pre-existing. And we'll look through this article and see if it's got some things that I don't even know about yet. But because I just skimmed this, I haven't taken a real close look at this. I just saw some things on Twitter earlier in the week, like a lot of people, Bane and Deathstroke. It sounded like a team-up movie. Then there was a follow-up that said it may not be that, and it may just be that Bane and Deathstroke are major players in a movie that features other big DC characters, so the question, maybe anti-heroes. So the question is this another like big ensemble team movie like a Suicide Squad, or is it really just taking a couple of big popular names out of a hat and throwing them in a movie together? My first reaction to that, when we thought for sure that's what it was that seems maybe a little bit of a cynical choice, where it's like, well, everybody loves Bane, and Deathstroke has a fan base, and of course the Teen Titans people love Deathstroke, and Deathstroke was supposed to be a major player in the DCEU and was cast and was in the after credits in Joss Whedon's version of Justice League. And people were excited about that casting, and then he never got to really play him. He was just in one scene where he shows up in a boat, and that was it. And so the cynical part of this, or what sort of seems that way, if this was all it was, is well, that didn't end up happening, and maybe there was enough interest in that to get people excited about Deathstroke in a movie, but could Deathstroke carry a movie by himself? And so it's like, we don't want to wait until Teen Titans to make him the villain of that. We want to go ahead and give him his own thing, because he almost had that movie. But then, would he, carry enough of an audience, like would enough people go see that with him by himself? So let's shove somebody else that's popular in there, so it's Bane, because we didn't get a Bane in the DCEU yet, and that's a major Batman villain that Matt Reeves is probably not going to touch in the Batman. So if that's not what it is, and we are developing a team around these two characters, or if it's like Deathstroke is the villain of a movie that like Bane is a team going and fighting him. The question, or the first thing that comes to my mind is maybe it's Secret Six. A team that Bane was on, as well as like Catman and I think Harley Quinn, and I forget who else was on that team. But that was a Gail Simone thing that was really popular in the, I think, early 2010s. And Deathstroke was not on that team, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility that they could change the lineup and put him in it, or make him the villain of that movie. And I say villain in air quotes because Secret Six is, kind of like Suicide Squad, where it's already mostly villains, on a team.
Yeah, Senior Nerd beat you to it. He was like, Secret Six.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and read some of what's here. Again, this is from Screen Rant. On September 27, The Hollywood Reporter exclusively reported that the DCU is currently developing a Bane and Deathstroke movie. If that is in fact what it is, it's so far the most odd, off the beaten path, shove a couple things together thing they've announced so far, right? There were precious few details about the project, except that sources confirmed such a film was in the early stages of development. And if that's true, if we can take that at face value, Jason, that means that it's not Deathstroke and Bane showing up in a movie previously announced. Austin suggested to me that it's possible that this is all still just Brave and the Bold, and that Bane and Deathstroke are both in that movie. This would suggest that this is a newly announced project. I also think it's more likely to be that since we got another newly announced project just this week. With Dyamic Duo, the animated Robins movie, which we'll talk about. Do you know about this?
Yes.
Which we'll talk about right after this. How and why these villains come together is unclear. Yeah, no kidding. And not something that has been seen in other projects. Yeah, like that doesn't come from anywhere. Those two characters feel like, again, kind of pulling out of a hat. Bane and Deathstroke's writer is confirmed. It's the Brave New World writer, which is not immediately exciting until we see Brave New World, because that's, I believe, the same guy or one of the writing staff from Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is why I've been a little bit leery of cautiously optimistic, because the trailers for that look really good, but I didn't think they remotely stuck the landing, or that show was even very good past the first couple episodes. But yeah, Matthew Orton, still a relatively fresh writer who worked on Moon Knight. Am I wrong? Did he not also work on Falcon and Winter Soldier? Maybe not. But Moon Knight doesn't immediately give me a lot of hope either. But if he hasn't done a lot yet, that doesn't mean that. There's all kinds of reasons that decent writers end up on things that aren't great. So I mean, sometimes if you take the the handcuffs off and you let somebody just go, then you'll find out, oh, that actually is a pretty good writer, and here's why he has a job. But anyway, Bane and Deathstroke delivers on James Gunn's recent tease. What are we talking about here? That Bane could be in the next chapter of the DCU. I did read that tweet. That's right. So he did recently say, like, Bane it might be in something that's going to matter. And then, sorry, I'm just looking at this article. I don't know, Screen Rant and a lot of these big kind of press sites for nerdy things will often say things that I find extremely obvious, and we don't even need to go there, and that I kind of roll my eyes at. Bane and Deathstroke have been adapted for both the big and small screens before. Bane was most notably portrayed by Tom Hardy in The Dark Knight Rises. I mean, if you've gotten this far, you know that. And Deathstroke has been adapted for several different shows, including by Manu Bennett in Arrow. However, the DCU is likely to recast the characters. Yeah, no kidding. That wouldn't even be recasting. That would just be casting. They're in different that would be like
different projects.
Yeah, that would be like saying we recast Lex in James Gunn's Superman. It'd be like saying that.
Yeah. From
from
BVS?
from the 6 in between.
Yeah.
There have been like 2 live-action TV Lexes since then.
Yeah.
There's been an animated Lex since then. You know, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so Jason, what do you think? Like, what is your guess on this? Is this going to be... Because here's my big question. Why would those 2 characters be singled out if it is a team movie that, like Secret Six, with other characters that they're blended in with? That's the part of this I'm not really getting. But leaks can be weird.
Right, where it's like, if it's Secret Six, then why is it like Bane and Deathstroke?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, like, at face value, it sounds like a team-up movie, but then there was this clarification that's like, you know, don't from DC, I think, that was like, you know, don't jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out, but
yeah,
it sounds pretty well confirmed that those 2 are in a movie.
They're gonna be in a movie.
Yeah. So I love Bane. I would love a more off-the-page comic Bane. If you were going to make a Bane movie that didn't include Batman, I would love to just see, and I'm a broken record, I've said this before, but just an adaptation of Vengeance of Bane. Just go to the prison,
yes.
Do that whole thing, watch him break out, watch him go to God. Well, yeah. and you could even do a Bane movie where Batman is featured in the 3rd act.
Sure.
Which could be really cool.
Yeah.
You know, you basically just make it a Nightfall movie from Bane's perspective, or you make it like the start of a trilogy or something, where, like, wouldn't it be neat to do a superhero trilogy where each movie is a really tight narrative and each movie is focused on a different character? Like the POV from a different character. So you do a Nightfall movie that's Bane in your first movie and Jean-Paul Valley in your second movie, and you don't get to Bruce Wayne's perspective until 3. Like, how kick-ass would that be?
That would be really cool.
Be really neat.
Yeah, and I would also like to see a more comic-accurate Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Because I like Deathstroke a lot.
Austin and I are on different ends of this, because Austin really likes Deathstroke and I really like Bane, and he does not care about Bane, and I don't care about Deathstroke.
And I like both.
Yeah. So this is cool for you, maybe, but even you've got to be putting a question mark in the air. Like,
right.
Why them?
I want just a prison movie with Bane and Deathstroke.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Just a prison movie.
That actually could be what they do.
That could be what they do.
Like a breakout movie where, like,
Maybe.
you put them both in Blackgate or something?
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe.
That's a cool idea. So a prison break movie with the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And you could populate that prison with all kinds of recognizable DC characters.
Yeah.
So when you say a prison movie, you want the whole thing to take place there.
Yeah.
That's a cool idea.
That could be a cool idea.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
This is why you're here.
Mm.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's not immediately what I want necessarily with Bane, but I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know.
Okay, so moving right along, this is from Comic Book Resources, a Dyamic Duo movie about the Robins announced by DC Studios. So I want to mention before we get into this, and this whole project sounds almost equally odd to me, but we'll get into that. At least it's 2 characters that make more sense to put together, I guess, but it's still kind of odd. So, from what I've heard, Gunn is shutting down the DC direct-to-video movies in favor of like regular Warner Brothers animation things that will be connected to DCU or also be Elseworlds things. So I think you could still see a lot of stuff like what they've been making, but hopefully overall the quality will be better.
And maybe they'll make less of them.
Well, that's my question: is will they still keep kind of pumping them out?
I actually don't
get 2 or 3 a year.
That. I kind of want them to do maybe 1 a year, and it's just, but they're better.
Well, and I'm also wondering how many of them will go to the theater and how many of them will go straight to Max.
Yeah, and if they're good, I would want them to go to theater or at least get more of a limited release.
Yeah,
like all of them.
Well, and to be fair, some of those things have gotten limited release from Fathom, and they've done a lot more of that in the last 8-10 years. You had that with Killing Joke. You had that with Return of the Cape Crusaders.
Yeah.
But I could see them doing some big budget, wide release movies, and I can't tell right away if that's what this is. We'll see. I did look a little bit closer at this article, and I didn't see anything about this, but we'll see if if there's any information on whether this is supposed to be theatrical or not. But anyway, so this is I think supposed to be actually DCU and not an Elseworlds thing, but I'm not sure right off. But it's produced by Matt Reeves, and the talk right now from Gunn is that they want him to be more involved in producing, and that he's not just going to be doing his own side with the Batman. He's going to be doing more things like Cape Crusaders, where he's kind of facilitating Batman things both on the DCU side and on the Batman side, and so he'll be kind of their Batman guy, maybe regardless of the continuity. Now, it's possible Batman stuff gets made that he doesn't have any part of, but I actually think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think that's cool. They just have kind of like a Batman guy.
And
he's a good Batman guy.
And it sounds like he and Gunn get along really well. I could see Matt Reeves even, and I'm jumping the gun like years and years down the road when I say this, but and yes, when we're talking about James Gunn, I cannot stop using that phrase. But I could even see Matt Reeves being the successor if Gunn ever got burnt out or decided that he wanted to move on and do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that he's thinking that and specifically trying to like groom somebody to take over down the road, because I mean he just got the job, but I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what the age difference is, but I think Reeves is maybe younger than Gunn.
I think so.
But anyway, I digress. So, two Robins will unite. So you did look at this?
I did look at this.
Does this seem odd to you? Two Robins will
Maybe.
unite to lead a new movie in development at DC Studios. It has been announced that Warner Brothers Pictures Animation has greenlit Dyamic Duo, the first joint project between DC Studios and Warner Brothers Animation. Per Deadline, Dyamic Duo will be an animated film written by Matthew Aldridge. I should have looked that up. I don't know right away who that is. The animation will be held by Swaybox, a new animation studio co-owned by the film's director, Arthur Mintz, created with his wife, Teresa Anderson. Reportedly, the film follows the early days of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, a.k.a. the Robins. So the Robins, like, simultaneously?
Yeah, I don't know about that. That seems very, like, late 2010s DC Comics.
Yeah. It also sounds really Elseworldsy. Like, this is okay if it's not actually part of the DCU.
Yeah.
But as an in-continuity thing, I'm very confused by this, or if it is in continuity. The duo call themselves the Dyamic Duo, which immediately is a confusing title, because you hear Dyamic Duo and right away, of course, Batman and Robin. And
Yeah.
I maybe you can advertise it in such a way where people get educated very quickly about what the title means. But like, I saw somebody before we started going, "Oh, Dyamic Duo, maybe it'll be Dick Grayson as Batman." That is not what they're doing. They are. I'm going back to reading the report here. They're orphan thieves, best friends who share dreams of a better life, but their friendship will be tested by competing visions of a future out of which will come a new Dyamic Duo. So it sounds like the idea is they both have the worldviews and ideology that you're used to of those two guys. One of them is more ends justifies the means, and is my guess, with Jason Todd, and more willing to do more brutal violence in the name of justice or whatever. Is he more about justice? Is he more about revenge? That kind of thing. But instead of doing it as, the ideological argument is between Batman and Jason Todd, it's Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, where they're both Robins at the same time. Yeah. And they're like, where is Batman? And does Batman just have multiple Robins at the same time? Like, you would think this would be a Nightwing and Robin thing.
Right.
But that's not what it sounds like.
Robins.
And they're both orphan thieves.
Austin says this article is out of date.
Oh, it is?
He said the Deadline came back and said the orphan thieves thing is incorrect.
Okay, cool.
And in their correction, they made it sound like more like it just
thanks,
placed
Austin.
over a time span that covers both as Robin.
So that's what I was about to say. I was wondering if the orphan thieves thing threw me off. So I'm really glad if that's not actually true, because that's weird. I wondered if it was maybe two stories being told simultaneously from different time periods.
That's better.
That actually sounds really cool.
That sounds cool.
And that suggests that it could be in continuity.
But what if and then what if at the end they do a time jump and it's like Nightwing and Red Robin?
Well, it wouldn't be Red Robin because that's Tim
not
Drake.
Red Robin. Sorry.
Red
Hood.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say either that or Nightwing and Dead Person, but probably Red Hood. Yeah.
Red Hood.
So this is interesting. The project will be made with Momo animation, described as a cross between CG, practical elements of stop motion, and live action real time performance.
Yeah.
Interesting. The result is additionally teased to be visually breathtaking, dynamically expressive, and more human, which suggests that they're trying to push the envelopes of animation even further than what the Spider-Verse movies have been doing, where they're like, we'll see your multimedia-looking thing, and we'll raise you actual multimedia. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Which is not fair, because that is a blend of 2D and in 3D, but, I mean, all done in a computer. Like, the idea that you would actually do some stop motion and you would do some live action, that sounds neat. Like, all of a sudden, I'm very interested in what this ends up being. And I just love that with Gunn taking over, they're doing a lot of experimentation. Let's just try stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, and you don't want to just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks in a haphazard way. But I like that they're like experimenting in what sounds like really artistic ways.
Yeah. I mean, if it blends well together, I feel like it could be cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really curious about that.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing I want to pull up, this article isn't loading, so let me pull it up somewhere else. But let's go ahead and talk about the thing that I missed last week, which is the Sonic DC crossover, since we're still in DC land. So I think this is going to sell...
Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this.
I think this is going to sell just ridiculously well, Jason.
Oh man,
I'm hearing tons and tons about this, like, because you know Sonic fans are crazy.
Yep.
And I think it's gonna be hard to get your hands on this when it first comes out. So, DC's Justice League and Sonic the Hedgehog to unite for crossover comic in 2025. So it's going to be just a full-on crossover with Sonic as Flash, Shadow as Batman, Knuckles as Superman,
and I think
Amy is something
Wonder Woman or something.
I can't remember.
And then
they're just showing three
Tails
of them here.
Cyborg.
Tails is Cyborg. I remember that. Yeah, this looks very silly, and it is going to be Ian Flynn.
Okay.
Which immediately makes me more interested in it.
Yeah.
Because it'll be, and of course, you know, if the art is the same as those books.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a ton to say about this except it's happening and it's wild.
And that's hilarious.
You know, the Flash, like Sonic as Flash is obvious.
Obvious, yeah.
But that's fine. Design-wise, I wish it wasn't the modern suits. Like,
yeah.
Like, they're the rebirth suits, and we still can't get away from those.
But the rebirth suits look like the rebirth Batman suit looks really funny on Shadow.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah,
Knuckles as Superman makes no sense in my brain.
It's because he's strong.
Sure, and because there's a lot of red in his costume, I guess.
It's because
everything about this reads really superficial, and I don't care. Like, I'm sure it'll be pretty. I'm sure it'll be a fun thing to have, you know, in your collection.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find the other designs real quick. This strikes me as one of those, like, last thing anybody asked for kinds of things. But, like, now that we know what's happening, people will be all the rage about it. It also feels like, I'm not finding this right away. It also feels like any... Oh, I hadn't seen this image yet.
That's a cool one.
It also feels like any crossover you can think of that hasn't been done yet, someday will finally. It's like we're still just, like, reaching into the toy box and putting everything together that even
so many
remotely
things.
makes sense together or doesn't make any sense together at all. Although I still want my Ghostbusters Beetlejuice comic crossover.
Mm-hmm.
That still needs to happen.
Yes.
But like now we've already had like Godzilla Power Rangers and
finally, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna read that, but I probably will.
yeah, I can't get excited.
I
about
like
the art
both
with
of those
that,
things a lot, but I don't know.
And then we're doing like Power Rangers and Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah, what the heck?
Because martial arts, I guess. Let's see if there's. Oh yeah, okay. So this was announced with the DC talking heads that always kind of irritate me. But anyway, so you're right. Amy is Wonder Woman because, of course, and
Silver is Green Lantern,
Lantern,
which is great. Like that's just.
I guess Tails is Cyborg just because he does machines.
Yeah.
Like, is that all that is?
No, that's right.
You think so?
Yeah, especially since we just got Sonic Prime, which that Tails is basically just Cyborg.
Yeah, that's true.
So
no, that's a good point. Now, my question is, do you think that they will? I'm sure they will, right? Do you think they'll Sonicify, like every character in that, where it's all because Sonic has a huge cast, so you take, a bunch of other DC characters. Like, who are the villains going to be? Like is it going to be Eggman as Lex Luthor?
Is it going to be Lex Luthor?
That seems like kind of the obvious thing.
Yeah.
But they're only showing us some of the heroes.
Right.
So I guess my question is it possible that those are the crossover characters and then and then some of the other characters are just kind of the straight human versions of the straight Hedgehog or the straight Sonic versions? I wouldn't think so. I would think they'd all be crosses.
Yeah.
This is playing like an amalgam sort of thing.
Which is honestly fine.
It's kind of more fun
funny.
because, and I guess I should have said this at the outset, what's unusual about this is the amalgamation. We don't usually do that.
Yeah, we don't.
Usually it's like, you take Star Trek Green Lantern, for example. We didn't take the like Green Lantern characters and make them Starfleet officers, but we did make Star Trek characters Green Lanterns in that. We came up with an excuse to give them rings. But you always have to like you always have to have an excuse to have a portal open or something so the two universes can talk to each other. But this is just blending them in the first place like amalgam. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's the novelty for this. That we never do it like that.
Yeah.
Really accept amalgam.
Yeah.
So I guess that does make this really unusual. And maybe it's the reason that the fan base exploded with this. Because I saw pictures of this like everywhere after it was announced. And I was like, is this really that big of a deal? I wasn't really thinking about it. I guess the only other... Maybe it's more typical to do this with cartoon type things. Because we have done that with the Warner Brothers crosses.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, the Looney Tunes stuff. Like sometimes they blend them, and sometimes it's like Martian Manhunter gets to hang out with Marvin Martian.
I will say Flash as Sonic is way better than Flash Taz.
Oh yeah, I remember Flash Taz.
Flash Taz. And my brother Freddie and I always have this really stupid argument where it's like, I call him Flash Taz, but Freddie's like, no, he's not Flash Taz. He's Taz as the Flash. Because that's what it says on the box.
That's what it says in the box. That's true. But how can you argue with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to, like, throw out Sonic characters and be like, who would that even
Yeah, sure.
be? Like,
let's do some of that.
Big the Cat. Who's Big the Cat?
You know what? Let's do this for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Because this could be fun. Because I've got a good one, but you started with Big the Cat.
Yeah, who's Big the Cat?
Bane.
Sure.
They don't have to be perfect. I don't understand Amy as Wonder Woman at all, okay?
It's because she's the girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, big is big, and so Bane. Let's do that. Doomsday. Big the Cat is Doomsday.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Vector the Crocodile as Killer Croc. It's right there.
Right.
Yeah. You gotta do that.
Right. But then,
what's Mighty? Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Mighty is... We need another strong DC character. Steel. Sure.
I guess.
I mean, it doesn't really work, but sure.
Well, Tails is already weird. Tails Cyborg is already weird.
I don't know. I could see Tails as Steel too. Like
with some of the themes, it starts to get kind of weird. It's like, who's your, like Aquaman, type character? Like you almost want to make that a water person in the first place, right? Like you got characters at DC that are themed in certain ways. Yeah. Where then you go to Sonic and they're just animals.
Yeah. And
so there's not perfect one-to-ones for everybody.
Yeah.
But then the big one I want. Going back to like robots and like cybernetic characters. The one that's right there is Metal Sonic as Cyborg Superman.
Yeah.
But then Knuckles is Superman. So then it's like, do you make him Metal Knuckles?
Well, you do
like Cyborg Metal Knuckles.
You do Robo Knuckles.
Yeah,
which is a thing.
I forgot about that. Okay.
And then you do that. Oh,
that's good, Makura. I was thinking about Charmy B and who that would be. He says Charmy B is Adam. That's pretty. That's
sure.
Pretty good.
Who's Blaze the cat?
Anime fans suggested Firestorm.
Sure.
But then, who's the other character in the head?
Right.
If you do that, like you almost want that to be a duo.
Yeah.
That's already kind of getting together. And
yeah. Austin, I was about to say that Metal Sonic would be Reverse Flash.
Yeah. That's good too. The thing is, Sonic doesn't have really a giant rogues gallery.
Not really.
Because you're usually fighting Robotnik and things he makes, right?
Yeah. Okay, but
so you want to get some villains in here.
Okay. Fang the Sniper is Deathstroke.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right there.
Yeah.
In fact, if they don't do that, they're doing it wrong. That's a mistake.
That's perfect.
That's perfect.
Fang the Sniper, yes.
Yeah, no, they have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like who's Ray?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I don't know.
I mean, would you just make Ray the Ray?
Yeah, could.
I mean, who cares? But it would be really funny if Ray was just the Ray.
Yeah. And then Rouge is Batgirl, obviously, or Batwoman.
Batwoman's better, just costume-wise.
For Rouge,
that would be kind of cool to see.
And she's very solo.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing, is she's a bat, so she has to be a bat character. I was going to say Black Canary, but she needs to be a bat character.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, that has to happen, too. You're also doing it wrong if you don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Dan's damn, we were talking about Mighty.
Yeah. Mighty?
Because I said Steel, I couldn't think of a better choice.
Superboy?
You need some big muscular character.
Yeah, like...
I would think. Well, you're ready to move on?
Yeah.
If anybody wants to take us back to this discussion later and we can try to do more crosses, feel free, because this is always fun.
Being the Dynamite.
Oh, yeah. What would Being the Dynamite be?
Who would Being the Dynamite be?
See, right now I just have the theme song from Sonic the Fighters in my head right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to talk about this briefly because it's interesting. This is from The Verge. Marvel and DC lose superhero trademarks. A challenge from a children's comic series has invalidated long-held superhero trademarks owned by Marvel and DC. In a way, it's almost surprising that it took this long. Marvel and DC held joint ownership over trademarks for superhero for decades. You ever notice that, Jason? They would have comics that had super with a space hero, and you know me, that's a pet peeve for me. Superhero is one word, but they had a trademark, so they would use it like that. It'd be Marvel superheroes. This, by the way, won't change anything for either company because they're no longer being able to copyright it. Means that everybody can use it, so they'll still do it, I'm sure. Yeah. For throwback purposes, if nothing else. But they would have like super squad. Space hero trademark.
Yeah.
And you get it with both companies.
Yeah.
That time is apparently mostly over, as the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office has canceled the company's claim to several of their trademarks, reports Reuters. The cancellation comes as the result of a challenge from Super Babies Limited, a small company that produces a series of Super Babies comics about Super Babies. And I had never heard of this. I'm sure most people have not heard of this. Kind of surprising they won this, to be honest with you. But so when I say it's surprising that it took this long, I just mean I would think that like a big enough company that wanted to use that term and not worry about their getting sued.
Yeah.
But not this. This is kind of small, so that's kind of surprising. That trademark was always really weird to me, and always felt sort of outdated because anybody can use superhero one word. You know, it's just specifically capitalizing it like that and making it two words and putting it in a title. It seems like,
yeah,
because like there's lots of things, you know, like superhero movie and stuff. There's lots of things that use the word superhero in them.
Right.
Some of this gets a little bit technical, and I don't want to get too into it. This is actually the whole article. But yeah, Marvel and DC didn't respond to a challenge by that's why they won this, because they just didn't even try, by a July 24th, 2024 due date, resulting in the mark's cancellation. I forgot that's what it was. As such, the office canceled 4 trademarks, the oldest of which was for the trademark superhero. The two companies still own a superheroes trademark as well as a supervillain trademark they secured in 1985, which makes this, I didn't realize that part of it, that makes this almost non-news, because they can still say trademark superheroes, like challenge of, I was gonna say, I guess it was Super Friends, but like, just anything you'd put superheroes in the title, you know, like Marvel superheroes, DC superheroes, so you can't say superhero team up anymore. I mean, you can. I'm just saying you wouldn't put a trademark next to it anymore.
Right. Yeah.
But, yeah, that whole thing is just such an outdated notion now to me.
Man, trademarks are weird.
Trademarks are weird.
I don't understand
It's
that.
never, it's not consistent. It's very vague, and copyright law is a gargantuan headache.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to talk about it every so often, and I never feel like I've learned any more after a precedent than I knew before the precedent. Yeah. It really seems to just be based on how deep do pockets go, and how like muddy and bloody is the fight, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But interesting that happened. Nonetheless, Andrew Cazzini, a legion of superheroes begs to differ. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's one of them. But anyway, just kind of crazy that happened. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the Ballerina trailer right now because Jason didn't see it. Do you want to watch it between
I will.
the break? Okay, so we'll do that. And then I just wanted to real briefly mention, this will be the last thing I'll mention for this segment right now, that Hellboy the Crooked Man is not getting a release date in the U.S. Everything about the release of this movie has been really bizarre. This ketchup company, I don't know what they're doing, but they're going to put it direct to streaming, straight to video, and it will probably do better there. Honestly, like, I don't know that would have had any box office legs whatsoever here, but I mean, I don't know, maybe it would have earned more money for them just because that's not a real expensive movie, and it might have been good for them to put it in the box office for like a limited run. I wouldn't have wide released that. Mm-hmm. But if that came out, you know, like if Fathom did a thing, that's what I would have done if I were them, is I would have just partnered with Fathom and had like a 2-night event for it. Mm-hmm. So I'm surprised they didn't at least get that. So folks like Austin that really like Hellboy, and I think you know, a more horror bent Hellboy movie looks cool. I have no dog in this. I can't get excited about that movie, but I can see why you might be kind of sad that you're not going to get to go to the theater to see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. I don't know anything about Hellboy.
Did you see the trailer for that?
No.
They put out a really dreadful teaser that made it look like a fan film. And then the second trailer looked like a real movie. And I don't know what they were thinking. Just everything about the rollout for this movie has been bizarre.
Yeah.
And it is surreal to think a Hellboy movie is getting a release date overseas, but not here.
Yeah.
That's very strange.
Yeah, that is weird.
Well, we are almost at an hour. Jason, do you see any comments about news that we talked about before that we might want to go ahead and respond to right now, or should we just take our break a little bit early?
I think we should just take a break a little bit early.
Okay, cool. Let's do that. All right, folks, we'll see you in about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we'll come right back. We'll talk right after we come back from the break about the Ballerina trailer, because I thought about maybe just Jason doing like a reaction to it, but we get flagged for those, and you never know if you're gonna get the video blocked. So I'm inconsistent. I'll sometimes do that, but I'm taking a risk whenever I'm doing it. So we'll just let Jason look at that on the break. Maybe the break will be a little bit longer this time because of that. And then we'll come back. We'll talk about that, and then we'll do the Next Generation segment. I have no idea what Jason's going to bring us tonight. So
I think you can probably guess just based on
what?
Just based on what I've been doing lately.
Well, I mean, you did video games last week. I don't know. It could be anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. But
I don't know.
But we'll find out here in just a little bit. What is it? Just a part 2 of that?
No.
Well, then I have no idea.
It's just something that I've done a lot.
Oh, okay.
My segment.
Well, we'll find out here in. Is it music?
Yeah.
Oh, it's more music. Okay.
It's more music.
So we'll hear from Jason with that here in a bit as well, and then we'll answer your questions throughout the second hour. And if you have things that you want us to talk about, now's a really good time to leave comments and super chats. We'll see you in just a few minutes. All right, everybody, we're back. It's time for the second half of the Captain Logan show, and just real briefly, we're going to talk about, I should never say briefly, but I do want to make, I'll say I would like to make this short. Let's just talk quickly about the Ballerina trailer, which is a spin-off of John Wick. And Jason, it's been so long since I've heard anything about this that I thought it was, I missed the memo that this was even theatrical. I thought it was another streaming thing.
Yeah,
like
I knew it was going to be theatrical.
I knew it was a movie and not a series like The Continental, which we still not watched and I've heard nothing but terrible things about, but I'll probably still at least watch the first part of, and if it sucks, I probably won't finish it, but we keep talking about doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Ballerina trailer, I watched, I think it came out Thursday, so we would have talked about it last week at the Captain Logan show, was still on Thursday.
Yeah.
Sometimes, because a lot of big news will come out on Thursday, and I get sad sometimes now that we have the show on Wednesday, where I'm like, we could have been, first to the, real early to the trough on it, but yeah, whatever. I was pleasantly surprised by that. I've gone from, like, oh god, how much are we going to oversaturate this, to kind of excited about it. It looks good.
Yeah. And they're marketing it as basically another John Wick movie, which I really like.
Which is correct.
Yeah.
And that's the one big potential criticism, of course, that it'll just be that again, but not focused on John Wick. And so the hope is she can carry it. And the question is, like, are we going to bring any new ideas to the table, any new characterization to the table? Is it going to feel like more of the same, but just with a girl now? What it kind of watches to me is like they're saying, we've had all of these, like, female rip-off John Wick movies. Well, we're not going to let you guys have all the pie on this. We actually made John Wick. So we can make one of those too.
And, It still has the originality in action, like stuff that I haven't seen, like the thing where she slams the door on a guy, where like she puts a bomb in his mouth and slams the door on him and then it explodes. That's
different.
That's awesome. And then the big like flamethrower.
Yeah. No, it looks like they're having fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
And they're selling it with what might be Keanu Reeves' only scene, who knows, but that's smart.
I didn't realize Keanu Reeves was going to be in it.
I didn't know he was going to be in it. They have increased the potential box office for that movie by at least $100 million just by putting that scene in there.
Yeah. And also, I've never actually seen a movie where Keanu Reeves is like barely there,
like a supporting character who just shows up for a cameo or something.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, now the question is it possible that he has like a little bit of a bigger role than we're assuming? Because it could just be a scene or a scene with a follow-up later, or he could be at least as involved as Fishburne in 2.
Yeah.
Is it 2 or is it 3?
He starts in 2.
He starts in 2, right? Yeah. So
yeah,
he could have a little bit more to do. But yeah, I'm actually kind of excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
That's cool. Now it feels like we got a John Wick movie coming. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she looks like she could carry it. I'm not, like, the Russian stuff in those movies is not my biggest draw.
It's not my favorite thing in that stuff.
So I'm hoping it'll be, like, interesting and fun enough to follow a movie that's focused so much on that.
That was my least favorite stuff in, what was it?
4?
Was it 4?
I mean, 4 deals a lot with it.
4, yeah.
Right, because he has to go back to get his sigil or whatever. From
them. I didn't know. I forgot if it was 3 or 4.
I think it's 4. No, they run together for me as well. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and do the Next Generation segment, and then we'll get to some questions from you guys, and you can help us direct the conversation for the rest of the show. We'll talk about whatever cool geeky stuff that, within reason, that you want to talk about. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm gonna do another. It's that time of month. I'm gonna do another.
Never say those words. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm gonna do another.
I had to say it before somebody else did. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do another music thing. I'm gonna do another music review. It's gonna be it's gonna be like it's two things this time, two newer hard rock things that came out. I originally had decided to just do one album, but then I was like, an EP came out that I ended up liking, so I'll throw that in too.
Well, that's good.
And so I'll talk about that first. The new Serj Tankian EP, Foundations, came out, and it's great.
He's always good,
really
though, right?
Good. It's, yeah.
When is Tankian not good?
Right.
Rarely.
I will say the big thing that I
didn't know about this, and I'm upset with you for not sending it to me.
Oh, sorry.
How did you not tell me about this?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You don't get to play Tankian in the void, dude.
I'm sorry.
I don't know, man. The sky is over. Like,
my one thing with this is that I wish that it could have been a full album, just because it's so fun. I wish he could have added like 6 more tracks. Yeah. My favorite track is "Justice Will Shine On," which I talked about a couple months ago.
Oh, that's right.
And it's just a very catchy melody, and it's very Serj Tankian. And Cartoon Buyer is another great track, which is a leftover from Elect the Dead.
Really?
And so it sounds like an Elect the Dead song. And
why did he scrap it on that album?
I don't know, but it has like crazy tempo changes, and
which he's want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fun.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. And then the last track, Life's Revengeful Son, the big thing I have with that is it just has a really cool bridge, where it just goes down, and then it's like 40 seconds, and then he goes back into and it feels like he's going into another song, and then it's not another song, it's just the bridge, but it's a really long bridge, which is fun.
And then it comes back? Yeah,
to the melody.
Cool.
And then my least favorite track is the first track, AF Day. I just don't think it's mic'd weird.
Oh.
And it's very, like, you can't tell at all what he's saying. And there's too much...
Is that distracting to you?
It is, yeah.
When somebody leaves a super chat and the balls bounce all over the place?
Yeah, but I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't make me hate.
I feel like it's a new exciting reason for someone to leave a super chat, though.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, it's a great EP. You guys should listen to it because it is very much his own thing. Like I think Justice Will Shine On is the closest to sounding like System of a Down.
Yeah.
But and then there's that track that sounds like an Elect the Dead song. But yeah, and then the big thing I want to talk about. That's fascinating. The big thing I want to talk about.
So it's what, 6 tracks?
It's 5 tracks.
5 tracks, okay.
And then the big thing I want to talk about is the new Seether album, which I was very excited about, which is The Surface Seems So Far.
I've heard the first couple tracks.
Yeah.
Now, you played me some of that last night.
Yeah.
When we went to Waffle House to do a meeting for our movie.
Yeah.
I had pie. It was delicious.
One of the things that I don't really like about this album is it has a terrible title. And
it's not terrible.
I don't like it at all. I don't like when they have the really like long titles. I prefer their like disclaimer. And,
does it sound too much like a TOS title or something?
Yeah. Yeah, it does, actually.
That could have been a TOS episode. The Surface Seems So Far.
But yeah, originally I thought it was like the middle of a sentence where it was like, how does the surface seem so far? Does it seem so, like, what does it
I think
seem
you
like
just don't
so
even
far?
understand the
but no,
the construction of it.
It seems so far
away.
Yeah. It's a good it's a good album cover.
How does it seem so far?
It's a good album cover.
Does it seem
pretty? I like the teal.
So far. No, it's like you're drowning and you're trying to get to the surface.
Yeah. And the album cover is very reminiscent of that. Very, you're escaping. Yeah. So this album starts off great, and then it falls off after like 3 tracks in the middle. And then I listen to the end, or like the last like 3 tracks, and it comes back and it gets great again. I don't know what, but like there's like a 4 tracks in the middle where it's just really boring, and it's just a slog. Like that 20 minutes is just like a slog to get through, and it's like it's all really forgettable, and none of it sticks with you, and like it's not catchy. So, and then somewhere in there is my least favorite track, which is Walls Come Down, and I feel like with that the melody is just kind of too happy sounding. Yeah, it's very strange.
Well, what do you expect? It's middle-aged guys in still that style of music.
Yeah, but like a lot of like some of the tracks feel like Seether, and just feel like more Seether songs, and then some of it feels like this weird, like it's trying to be Seether, but it's like
that second track I felt like was fresh enough.
Yeah,
that first track just felt like the same song they wrote 900 times.
Yeah, and so I said that it's a good Seether album. So if you like Seether, then you should listen to it. But that's all it is.
Yeah,
it's a Seether album. Like, my favorite tracks are Illusion, Beneath the Veil, and Same Mistakes. Those are all very catchy songs in my opinion. Illusion is the best one because it has the best screamy part in the. I think in the whole.
Is that one of the tracks I heard?
Yeah, that's the second.
The second one, okay.
And he turns into a Muppet, and he goes on a delusion. He sounds like that.
That would have been a top 10 radio single if it had come out in like 06.
Yeah, it's a good it's original enough. I feel like and I did talk about it like a month ago when it released as a single, but that it is. The problem is, I was really excited for it for the album itself because I really liked that song, and so I was expecting for the whole album to sound like that, and it didn't.
Yeah, that's just
that's always disappointing. But yeah, we have 8 days till the next Offspring album, so I'll review that when it comes out, and yep. I might review that, but then like rank my Offspring albums.
Oh, that'd be good.
I might do that, and then like put the new album in the ranking.
You might need a longer segment though. We might want to give you a little bit of extra time for that. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's why I'm making this shorter.
I honestly kind of wish I had the time to go back through them and do a ranking myself. Like that could be a separate video even.
It could, yeah.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Because obviously, like you've gotten more into that band than I ever did, but like I've heard every record.
Yeah, I am the only one that I have never heard, and I'm finally going through it with Mom. Is their second album, which is escaping me right now. But yeah, it's good so far. It's better than the first album.
So fun kind of geekvolution, kind of me trivia. My wife is a big Offspring fan, and my wedding gift to her when we got married was their whole discography up to that point.
Yeah, which I always go back to.
And so that's before Rise and Fall comes out. Or had that just come out?
It had just come out.
Oh yeah, you know what? I think I did. I think I did buy that summer along with that.
Yeah.
That's right. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Which has a couple of tracks that just sound like Green Day songs.
Yeah, and then Days Go By just is a Green Day album, and a really bad one.
Yeah, it's not good.
And has Cruising California bumping in my truck.
Oh my god!
Remember bumping in my truck?
No, I've excised that whole album from my memory. It was.
You're gonna have to listen to it if we do
that. Maybe I'll just let you have that segment. All right.
It is the worst Offspring album.
Yes, John, you do have to look at Tanky and solo stuff.
Yes,
is John just 15 minutes behind on this, or like 10 minutes behind on this video, or do we have that much of a lag?
I don't know.
Like, write Offspring right now. Somebody in the comments write Offspring right now if
Right
you're hearing
now.
us talk about Offspring.
We'll see how much of a...
Yeah, how much of a delay there is.
Okay, we're at 1 hour, 15, 40 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get into your questions tonight, folks. We're going to talk about anything you want to, and then we're going to do rants at the end tonight. That'll be our final segment.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to find out what yours is, Jason.
I'm excited to find out what yours is, because yours is going to be better than mine.
Well, it could be. Can't Toward just run Offspring. Okay, that's normal. That's normal amount of lag.
That is a normal amount of mad, yeah.
Yeah. He wrote it in all caps. He's pissed. All right, Jason, give us some super chats, give us some pre-written questions, whatever you guys want to talk about.
We got a super chat from Mutale.
We might answer the phones next week.
Ooh,
we might do a phone segment next week. I've been anchoring to do that again.
Yeah.
I'll advertise it ahead of time so that folks can pop up if they want to call us.
Plushy DX just said off, so he doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah, you lose, sir. You get nothing.
My favorite band is Off.
And Kyle Newberry felt the need to add yippee to his comment.
That doesn't count either. No.
All right, moving right along.
We got a super chat from Mutale.
Well, thanks, Mutale.
And he asks, "Hi, Cap.
That's not a question.
Thoughts on the rumor that Zaslav is pressuring DC Studios to make Pattinson's Batman the DCU Batman?"
Give me just a second, and let me make sure that we're still broadcasting.
Are we still streaming?
It looks like we are.
Yeah, we are.
This webpage just crashed.
Oh?
Which I've never seen ever happen. Like, it'd be just the internet goes down. But, like, the page crashed.
Wow.
It was very strange.
That's happened to me.
Let us know if you can still see and hear us, folks.
Yeah.
And write yippee at the end of your comment.
Right, yippee.
Anyway, I'm sorry. He
says hi,
very
Cap.
Distracted by the phrase "aw snap."
He says hi, Cap. You remember that
That's
part?
not right, and I remember saying that's not a question.
Okay. Thoughts on the rumor that Zaslav is pressuring DC Studios to make Pattinson's Batman the DCU Batman? Also, how did Jason feel about Daredevil?
Okay, well, we can get to that in a second because you're here and you can answer that question.
Can we do the gong?
Oh, thanks for the yippee. Oh, yes, of course. Apologies. I remember how this show works. I had not heard that about Zaslav trying to get the Matt Reeves Batman into DCU. That's obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
And I really hope that in Gunn's new role and whatever his contract reads like, Zaslav can't force stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that that's what that is.
I really hope not, because if that gets forced, it undermines. And I'm saying this obviously with none of this having come out yet. I know we've got folks in our audience that are on kind of both sides of this, and I don't want to like create undue animosity or make this like a political sort of thing. I know some people don't love Gunn and are not excited about the new DCU, and I know I'm more optimistic about it than some people are, but I've still got the things I'm trepidatious about with it, of course. We've all just got to kind of take a breath and wait and see, and remember that at the very least, the man seems to be letting lots of different people with their own creative visions make stuff that hopefully all fits well in a universe, but can be very different things. So if you don't like one, you might like something else, and hopefully it works out that way. But so just that quick disclaimer to then say, it would undermine Gunn's whole plan if he was forced to make that the Batman for that world, because he already has plans for Batman in that world, and he's already greenlit at least one Batman project. And the universe that they're building is a living and breathing DC world and this is one of the big things I like about what they're talking about, at least on paper, that I've been talking about this a lot lately, Jason, that when you go to their movies, it's going to feel like, I think, we've been telling stories in this world for a long time, and we're just now finally checking in with it, and so it's a living, like I said, a living and breathing world. It's probably decades in the making, and they have to allow a Batman history that's gone back real far for the kinds of things they want to do in that world. Like some things can be brand new. Batman can. You've got to have some pre-established history so that they can just start throwing in the characters they really want to get to play around with in that sandbox. And if you've got to start with Matt Reeves' Batman, you're basically in year one. Or like year two, right? And I'm sure Zaslav, just thinking real corporately, he's got that old school mindset, right? Of we've got to have synergy. We don't want multiple versions of the same characters at the same time. The man's got to catch up to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Where we're at now, and frankly, the whole world should have caught up to this before the 21st century. The stupid synergy thing, the stupid embargoes that we had in the 90s where you couldn't do certain things in a TV show because they were going to happen in a movie, and even in comics because they were going to happen in a TV show, like with Lois and Clark getting married in their show, so you couldn't do that in the comics, so that's why Death of Superman happened. And like, I guess I'm glad sort of that happened, although it was one of my favorite things and ruined everything, but I digress. If you have this dumb corporate synergy mindset, you're tying people's hands behind their backs creatively, and you're also basically telling the audience that it's stupid and not giving us any credit because we can enjoy multiple iterations of a property and in characters at the same time. We can understand the difference. If frickin' Transformers can do it, why can't DC Comics? Why can't DC superheroes do it? It's really stupid. And anyway, so yeah, Zaslav cannot win that fight, and I don't think he's going to win that fight. So look, Zaslav, you just go back and keep, scrapping things for tax write-offs, and except don't do that, and let James Gunn, you write him I was gonna say write him a blank check, just give him rope and let him be creative because you're not a creative guy, and then let James Gunn hire a bunch of creatives that can go off and do their own things. And I don't know, I'm soapboxing, and don't tie his hands behind his back. Like, why are you paying him an obscene salary if you're gonna do his job for him?
Yeah. Right.
And also, just and like, I'm sympathetic to this degree, to a smidge, which is, if you're not a superhero, if you're not a DC person, you're not a comics person, you may not appreciate the almost separation, not separation, but like the DC, the vast Batman corner of the DC universe. Batman is like X-Men. It could be just completely separate from DC. And there's lots of fun, cool things you can do with Batman in DC, but it's such a, it's such an entity unto itself. It's such a universe that it's really cool to have a separate Batman universe that doesn't have to talk to anything else.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of cool Batman stories that can be a little bit tougher to get away with, in a world where you're doing all the, multiversal and time travel and alien stuff and magic stuff and all of that. And Reeves doesn't have to talk to any of that.
Yeah.
To tell more, gritty street level, like crime-ridden Batman stories.
Yeah.
Sorry. I went on about that because I had not heard that yet, and the more I thought about it, the more it pissed me off.
Sure.
How are you feeling about Daredevil so far?
Oh, right. So watched the pilot. I thought it was okay. I felt like I needed to see more of it to really understand what it was going for. Second episode.
You had nothing to say about the pilot.
I had nothing. Like,
I was like, "What do you think?" You're like, "It's Daredevil." I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was good it was a good setup, but that's all it did. And then the second episode, things happened, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. And then I just watched the third episode last night, and it's great.
Right?
I just want it to be a court drama, is the problem. I want it to be like a court drama where he turns into Daredevil to hold people at gunpoint to ask him questions. That's what I wish that was. But what they're doing is fine. But yeah.
And you'll get some courtroom drama in that show, but
well, and what they did in third episode was great.
That opening monologue that Matt Murdock has for that court scene is so good.
Yeah,
it's like the question.
The question.
Let me go back to what we were talking about for a second. Andrew, corporately, there shouldn't be two cinematic Batman, but the Batman universe just got its foot in the door before the DCU started. I mean, respectfully, I'll say, but that's lucky for me. I'm glad that happened. I want there to be, and I don't agree with that corporately there shouldn't be. Like, the conventional wisdom from, again, like old thinking corporate studio heads would be you don't want to be in competition with yourself, but Batman is this different animal where there are so many different like moods and tones and attitudes to take with different versions of that character that I've always wanted there to be at least two franchises running at the same time. And this is like a pipe dream for me that is coming true. Eons ago, when Vince and I started the channel, we did a show where I was talking about how there's no reason that you couldn't have two Batman movies happening at the same time in a theater for different audiences. It's so versatile.
Yeah.
And I said we'll never see that happen. And I was wrong. We are going to see that happen. Maybe not in the same theater, but or like at the same time. But we are going to see that happen now.
Yeah.
And you just have to make them different enough. And they can be sort of for different audiences and also sort of for the same audience all at the same time. I like the idea that if you've got a PG-13 pushing the envelope to R, Batman with the Batman, and the Penguin feels like it fits just perfectly in line with that and is hard R, you could do a movie in that world easily that is as violent as that and not feel like you're going too far. The Batman could have been R. It's not, because it is the only Batman thing happening then, and they have to still at least pretend like they can sell it to children. I don't like that. It's hilarious the way they sort of still attempted to do that, even like with Rises.
Yeah.
But they didn't as hard, and so I wasn't really upset with them until you just showed me that they did a storybook, and I didn't realize they did a storybook, and I was like, what? I almost made that my rant tonight. It's not going to be.
I was wondering if that was going to be your rant.
Yeah, I was between two, and I thought about it.
Was that your other one? Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll go as far as to say if the Batman 2 is R, that's fine.
I think that's fine.
And I think it could be cool if we did that. But what I was going to say is, I do want, and because we're doing Damian, I don't know if this will be the case, but I do want Breathing the Bold to be a somewhat more family-friendly thing. I don't mean that it has to be aimed too hard at kiddie audiences, but I want it to at least be the kind of thing that you can take your 11 or 12-year-old to.
Sure.
Or like 9 or 10-year-old maybe, and be just a little lighter than what they're doing in the Batman universe.
Yeah.
And at the very least, I think you can expect just a more heightened kind of fun comic tone from that because it's in the DCU proper can also talk about magic and deal with aliens and anything they want to do over there.
Yeah.
So yeah, respectfully, I'll disagree. I think like when you say corporately, that's the typical strategy, but I think it'll work as long as Brave and the Bold is good. It'll work. And I hope they don't compare numbers too hard. They need to compare like things to like things. It needs to not be, oh, the Batman is doing like $200 or $300 million better than this other thing, so we need to scrap it. They need to not be looking at it that way.
Yeah.
They need to compare it to the rest of the universe they're building, like how those projects are doing, versus the budgets.
Yeah.
That's all they need to look at.
Yeah, I agree.
And so they put out Brave the Bold, and it only does $600 million, but they didn't inflate the budget, and they only spent $100 on it. Then that's a win.
Yeah, it is.
And if the Batman 2 does $800 million, but Brave and the Bold only did $6, if it triples its budget, then who cares?
Yeah.
So anyway,
okay. We're gonna do a Patreon question.
Let's do a Patreon
This
question.
is a Patreon question from Dylan. Hey, Cap.
Hi there.
Have you played any recent platformers? Celeste and the Ori games are excellent and worth your time. Also,
Jason keeps telling me that. He talked about this last week, actually.
yeah, and I agree with the Ori games as well. I've beaten Celeste multiple times. I've not beaten Ori yet, but I need to get back to it. Also, I've been watching you since I was a teenager, and now I'm 31 and just had my first kid. Time flies.
Yeah, wow. I've been getting that comment more and more lately, which just makes me feel old.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, man. Thank you for sticking around so long. Congratulations on your child. I have not played much in the way of recent platformers that aren't, just connected to franchises that I already care about. Like,
You played Shovel Knight.
yeah, but I mean that's a decade old or more at this point.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah.
You played...
But the AVGN games,
Right.
So I played modern retro throwback things. I've done kind of more in the realm of beat ups and fighting games lately, but not so much with with fighting games. Skullgirls is awesome. Check that out. But I don't care what Jason says. That game's great.
Yeah, I don't like that game, but
yeah, I don't like some of the modern platformers. That are more in the run and gun vein, or especially the kind of auto scroll vein, the or what do you call it, like endless runners. Not my cup of tea.
Yeah,
not really my thing. And Jason loves that kind of thing.
Yeah, I like I said last week,
like your geometry dashes and stuff. Count me out. I
like the kind of thing where you try a thing over and over again until you get it, and that's why I like single screen games a lot too. And so Celeste is single screen, and then Ori is more of a Metroidvania, which I started the first one. I need to get back to it.
Yeah, I will say I did, and this is several years old now too. I did try Hollow Knight, and I got lost very quickly and couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. I'm not good at those kind of games.
Yeah.
So I need you to throw out a modern game that throws back a lot more to your Marios and your Sonics and that kind of stuff, because that's more of what I'm good at. I'm not against trying other stuff. I just haven't.
Okay, let's...
Oh, Buster Sim, I'm glad to hear that you're finally watching Babylon 5. That's great. Because it's awesome.
Let's go to Super Chat.
Yeah.
Goofster, 1, 2, 3, a 5 Super Chat.
Thanks, man. A 5 super chat.
A 5 Super Chat.
He gave us 5 super chat. Okay, go ahead.
Cap.
Yeah.
Will we ever see a superhero show on network TV again? What characters / ideas would work best in that medium? Clearly, streaming hasn't gone well.
Boy, that's an excellent question.
Yeah.
I mean, plausibly. It's obviously not the golden ticket that network thought it was 10 years ago, and you don't have anything to compare it to now with the CW kind of closing up shop on scripted television, and with Superman and Lois going off the air, and everything has gone to streaming now, and like he said, it's real hit and miss. I mean some of it is performing, and it's been all about quality, right?
Yeah. We have Penguin, right?
What's that?
Penguin?
Yeah, Penguin is broadcast.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it wasn't supposed to be. They changed that at the 11th hour. Yeah. So I guess the answer to that question is maybe Gunn will do a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Maybe when shows look like they just belong in certain networks they own, they'll try it, is it possible that you could see a more, whatever it is, a more family-friendly show show up on a cable network now? Because it's Warner Brothers. Maybe. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So, what exactly would it be? I think we should start at the DC side. I don't know why Marvel would do it at this point. Because they've got all their eggs in the Disney Plus basket. Mm-hmm. And it's just now starting to turn a profit for them. Yay! But I think it's still probably more risky for them to try to get people to pay real close attention to anything that at least is supposed to be in the MCU on broadcast. So I'm not sure why they would do that. Like, certainly maybe cartoons and stuff, but that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about, like, primetime dramas.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a good long time, if at all, before you see Marvel attempt that again.
Yeah. I mean,
for a while they were doing a lot of experimentation, trying different. They were putting this stuff on ABC, the Agents of Shield. They were putting stuff on Freeform, like a Cloak and Dagger. They were trying different stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I could see maybe
in Runaways. It shows nobody watched. Yeah.
I could see maybe Daredevil Born Again doing the Penguin thing.
Where would you put it though? Because
I don't know where you'd put it.
That's the thing, and that's why I don't think that'll happen. Because Warner's has HBO, and so they have a popular. Well, when I said cable earlier, sorry, I meant major like regular network. But HBO does hard R stuff. They can put anything they want to on broadcast for that. When Paramount decided, I think stupidly, to put their Discovery back in 2017 when that started as the flagship show for their new streaming service that at the time was CBS All Access, they aired the pilot. And then nothing past that. You had to go, they try to get your beak wet, and then you had to go look at it there. But the problem is then you have to censor it some, because that show went with F-bombs and things, which was kind of pointless and didn't seem to fit any of that material, but that's what they did. And they had cannibalistic Klingons and just like stupid stuff, trying to make it seem like harder edged and like this is not your grandfather's Star Trek and all of that. But you do have to be kind of careful if you want it to be regular broadcast and not on a Showtime or an HBO or something with what you put in it. So there's no place for Daredevil to go.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to, at this point, they're reworking it to try to make it seem like Netflix season 4. More so, and so it will be harder edged, and they wouldn't be able to put it on broadcast.
Yeah. I
would expect. That's the way they've been talking about it anyway. So anyway, what would be? Sorry, I'm going off. What would the DC shows be that you would think that maybe would go broadcast? And I want
a Green Lantern show on broadcast.
Well, I think at this point, Lanterns could end up on HBO.
It could, yeah.
With the numbers Penguin is doing, I think they'll look much more and more at putting those on broadcast.
Yeah.
There's probably a whole audience there that they weren't even thinking about before.
Maybe a Teen Titans show. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of things they're likely to make. Because my imagination is feeling limited right now because I'm just thinking of projects that I know they're making, but it's like, what things could they do down the road that would make sense to put on network television again? Because if they decided to put everything on HBO, they could put anything they wanted to there. But what actual like TV 7 to PG-13 type things would you, or like young adult or whatever, would you put on network?
AMC says Booster Gold, certainly.
Yeah, that's probably not going to be a rough and tumble enough show. Yeah, that could go network. That's true.
A Suicide Squad show, like a different Suicide Squad show.
But you wouldn't want to do that network. You'd want that again. You'd want that to be HBO.
Right.
The obvious thing is bring Constantine back as a TV show.
Ooh, yeah.
But even that is probably better on HBO, because they had to hold it back a little bit on network. So sorry, when I said that, I was thinking more HBO. I can't think of anything really network. I'm worried that whatever they did, they'd be held back too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I'm to a point where I kind of can't get real excited about superhero on network anymore. Where I like the streaming format better for this stuff. But it is cool that you could just, put it on HBO.
Yeah.
So I like that. Gotham Central, that's a good call. But anything at this point that they might do for the Matt Reeves Batman universe would go to HBO before it went to network.
Yeah, it would.
I'm struggling to think of anything that I would want to put on network before HBO. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along.
Okay. Senior Sticks, $5.
Yeah.
Were there a solo Power Ranger movie in space?
Oh, Plush DX says Miss Marvel aired later on ABC. I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no idea. But they should have done that in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay. With that show, and they should have aired. Sorry, they should have aired. Hawkeye there too.
Yeah. Yeah, Hawkeye would have been a good ABC show. I've still never seen that.
Oh, you'd like it.
I feel like I'd like it.
You should. We'll do that at some point.
Okay. And I haven't seen Loki.
I think you'd like that show more than some people.
I don't like Loki, so maybe that would get me to like Loki more. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe so.
I
don't, the quirky time travel stuff, I think you'd probably have fun with.
I don't like what they do with him in that universe, so. So $5.
Well, it's kind of a different thing.
$5 from Senior Sticks.
Thanks, man.
Were there a solo Power Ranger movie in space? Should it be a low budget or high budget venture? Also, Cap, if you consider doing a Tick cosplay.
Well, I'll start there. If I did anything Tick, it would not be the Tick. I'm too small. Of course. No, I've never wanted to do a Tick cosplay. I would do who would I do? I would do like the Deadly Bulb.
The Deadly Bulb. Remember the name.
The Deadly Bulb.
Wow, that's deep.
Although that would be weird because you have to walk around with a giant pig prop on your on your foot.
Yeah.
You have to do that. But that's the I wanted to say Breadmaster, but I'm not tall enough for Breadmaster.
Right.
Like he's got to be a tall guy. Dinosaur Neil? I just feel like he's kind of tall.
You could be Dinosaur Neil in the dinosaur costume.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, that
he's kind of tall.
Yeah.
You should be Dot.
No, I can't be Dot. She's a girl.
You should be Dot's car.
Neil, Chairface has played Wiggy with your pills. What was the other question? Oh, yeah. It's kind of an odd question. If you were going to do a Power Rangers movie set in space, should it be low budget or high budget? Well, obviously, high budget. Yeah. It's in space. Anytime you set something in space, the more money, the better. So is he asking how campy do I want this movie to be? Like, is that what he's saying? No. Throw more money at that, please. It's set in space. It's going to have spaceships and big epic battles and be cosmic in nature, and the best Power Rangers lore is stuff that we go out and do cosmic.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be able to go to different planets, and I love a big budget Power Rangers movie that plays with all the lore, where we get to go to 3 or 4 planets we've heard of before. We actually go to Triforia, you go to Eltar, you go to Aquitar.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
Yeah.
You do stuff with there's so much, they're evil space.
I want
do so much stuff out in space. You can do Master Vile, you can do Machine Empire, you can do
man, there's just so much. You could go to you could go to the Magna Defender planet.
You do that. You'd probably want to do like a big Dark Spectre plot.
Mm-hmm. You could, yeah. I want a time travel movie where they go back and explore the Wild Force lore with all the Zords. That's what I want.
I think at this point, and like I know I'm a broken record, but animated. But I think at this point, the thing to do with a standalone Power Rangers movie, if you want to do a real big, epic, exploring lore thing, is to get really nitty-gritty into what the grid is. And
nitty-gritty.
And play around with the Morphin Masters and the avatars and all that cool comic stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'd want money for that.
Let's do a Patreon question.
Okay.
SS Jerry. What's the plan for the rest of Amalgam Part 2, the live stream / request?
Well, the request was for the rest of Amalgam, but the rest of Amalgam was too many issues. So we don't have a plan for that right now.
Okay.
Because it was too many issues to read for one show. So with respect, somebody would have to come back in and request the rest of it. Maybe I'm sure at some point we'll get back to it. I'm not in a hurry. There are like 5 or 6 issues left, I think. Maybe 7 or 8. I can't remember. There's a few people that really want to see the rest of that. There's not a huge ton of interest. So just for the sake of completion, I would like to finish that at some point. But yeah, Austin and I don't have a plan per se. So that's not me trying to like money milk with anybody or whatever. If you want it earlier rather than later, a request, we are like we have a backlog of like 4 or 5 months right now. So I think it's safe to say it'll be at least that long, unless I just have an itch suddenly to do more Amalgam, and then I'll finish it up. But
I should request something.
have you thought about it?
I've thought about it. I don't know what.
I mean, there are some stuff that I want to say. There's stuff here and there that that I don't.
Yeah. Or things that
Would you request Rebel Without a Cause?
Ooh.
I know you want me to watch that.
Yeah.
Or you could request The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Would you request something and then show up?
Yeah, that's
and
the
review
thing
it, or do you want to request something?
I just want to request something and then
just
have you talk about it, like, or something that like, but like not that well, like Clue or something, or Robin Hood Men in Tights or something,
Yeah.
Just something that like I know you've probably seen before, but you don't know it that well.
Maybe been a long time.
Yeah, so you can do it, and I know Austin has never seen Clue, so.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I have done a video on that on the channel before, but it's been a long
have
time.
you? Okay.
I say that. I think. Maybe not.
I love that movie. Such a good movie. Okay.
I'm hesitating. I don't even know what form it was in. I thought we did something on it a long time ago. Maybe me and Eric back in the day. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for helping us knock out the Patreon questions. Do we have just a couple of those left?
We have a couple of those
month?
left, yes.
Okay, how many super chats are left?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, let's do those at least, and then get to rants at the end.
Okay. Mutala super chat.
Thanks for the support tonight, guys. Appreciate you. Oh, I gotta wait until we hear the question.
Cap and Jason, would you two rather have Spider-Man's organic webs or Wolverine's bone claws?
Oh, that's a great question. Because they're both kind of stupid.
Yeah.
The bone claws were never a great idea.
Why?
Like, what a weird power set. Where you were born with healing factor and also these, like, kind of pathetic little claws that could break off really easily. Yeah. And I guess they grow back.
I guess.
But anyway.
I would rather have
I always hated that. I've always much preferred it was just the idea of the scientists that put the thing together. Because you have healing factor, you'll be able to keep healing from it. Mm-hmm. So that's why that's put in there. But yeah, claws all day long. Mm-hmm. Oh wait, no, because it's bone claws. Yeah, I guess the organic webbing. I feel like you can do more with that.
I would say the bone claws because it's better than.
It's less gross. Yeah. By a little bit.
Yeah, and
assuming I have the healing factor, obviously.
Right. And it's better than the X-Men Origins CG claws. So.
Hey DJ, I think Jason liked Men in Tights. Okay.
I do like Men in Tights. What's wrong with Men in Tights?
I watched that as a kid.
Okay, I like Men in Tights because I don't like the '90s Robin Hood movie.
I don't like that movie either.
Because the choices that they made were really stupid. So.
Yeah.
Okay. $2 from Senior Sticks. In a dance-off, can Cap dance? New show idea.
Okay, so I hate this idea. with a burning passion.
Really?
With respect, never gonna happen. Yeah, because it's embarrassing. We did one live stream where Jason tried to teach me how to do a dance.
That dance sucked.
And it was the worst. And not your part of it, but I just like I'm too self-conscious to do that on camera. No, I cannot dance. I'm much too stiff. And there are some things like that maybe I could get like half decent at on my own in a closed room, like just learning it like with videos or something,
Yeah.
I tense up around people.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like I talk in front of a camera for a living. I've done a lot of performance over my life. Like I don't mind singing in front of people. There are, although depending on what it is, I can kind of get a butterfly thing that happens. But I'll tell you, I've been thinking about this lately. I want to do more when we can come up with an excuse for it. I want to do more live music here and there on the channel and try to get used to doing that in front of people, because I'm a half decent drummer and you wouldn't know it listening to stuff I've done on the channel because I tense up.
Yeah.
Like I start playing a lot more like you know, kind of simple and safe riffs because I just get a little scared doing it in front of people.
We should.
And I'm like that with dance, except dance I also don't have any actual talent at.
Right. That's
drumming I've done some. You know what I mean? Like I practiced that a decent amount. But...
Yeah. We should do a. We should do some freestyle.
I thought about doing some freestyle. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean with ukulele and cajon, or
that
even,
could be fun.
even guitar and cajon?
I was thinking dance, but yeah.
Oh, dance. Oh, yeah.
No, we should do a freestyle dance off. Yeah.
But
I think I would win.
I was thinking about doing a freestyle cajon stream and just trying to kind of loosen up with that and see if I can do that in front of people a little bit better. Sorry, I didn't mean to use this as an excuse to talk about something different.
Yeah.
But dance, I don't immediately like doing, just in general.
Yeah, I like doing.
Well, that but I mean, like that's half of your life, really.
Right, it is.
Jason's a magnificent. Oh, tell everybody the role that you just scored.
Yeah, so every year, and I've been doing this for like 7 years now, which is crazy.
At least. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, 7, I think. Every year, during like around December, we hold a Cajun Nutcracker ballet. So it's the Nutcracker, but set in Louisiana, and it has like crawfish and all this, like it has like peppers and.
It's a weird tradition.
Very
but it goes way back.
Strange things, but yeah, it has It's very fun, and I've always been for the last like 3 years I've been the kid who breaks the Nutcracker at the beginning, right? And I've been like the stupid little brother, right? And
you always end up with like 6 little roles.
Yeah. And I've always been like, yeah, I'm that guy, you know. I get to be on the main cast list, like, oh boy. This year I'm the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah. So
congrats on that, man.
I get to do sword fighting.
That's pretty cool.
In a big costume.
You get to fight rats.
No, they're crocodiles.
Oh, because it's the Cajun one, yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I mean, alligators.
Yeah, right. Yes, gators. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I always have to stay home and watch a baby or toddlers or something.
Yeah, it's...
I really hope I get to go this year.
Yeah.
Because you guys don't film it, right?
No. We do film the Spring Ballets, and I want to show you the Wizard of Oz one, because it was really good.
Do you have it?
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
it.
let's do that soon.
Let's do that.
Nobody cares about this. Anyway.
Yeah, we should, we should at some point while we play, I should have my tap shoes on and just... like play and then
yeah, we could make that part of the percussion.
Yeah,
we
could do a freestyle off with that where you drum and then I tap dance. That would be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be really fun, and it's just percussion.
Yeah,
that would.
And
be
we've
fun.
got the right floor for it down here.
Yeah, we do.
It's a good idea. We're always planning on the fly on stream.
Yeah. I just had a class from one of the best freestylers in or not freestylers, but one of the best like tap dancers in Kansas City. Lonnie McFadden, and that was a blast. Like, he's really fun. But he really got me wanting to do more freestyle stuff. So yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, did he single you out for anything?
No, there was a Q&A thing. And I asked him what his favorite jazz standard was.
Oh, cool. What did he say?
He didn't have an answer, but he told me some of his favorite artists, which is
cool. Okay, what else do we have for super chats? Or are we caught up?
We have 2.
Okay, let's knock those out.
Okay, Mutala super chat. Kevin Jason, when it comes to superheroes, which is more important? A hero with unique abilities or a unique origin?
Let me try this again. That's a great question.
It is, yeah.
I want to give this... I've never really thought about this. I want to give this a little bit of thought. I think the answer is probably origin, just on the face of it.
Yeah.
Just real simple one word and yeah, it's origin because... Well, I was going to say there are only so many powers and variations on power sets. That's also kind of true of origins, right? But you can be so much more specific on the details that you can make old ideas fresh again. And you kind of get into that place of there are only X number of stories that can be told, and everything you tell is a variation on those, right? Like you hear various theories. There's only 7 stories. There's only 3 stories. There's only one story. It's who am I and who am I going to be? It's one story. You know what I mean? So you can make the argument that origins are like superpowers. At the end of the day, it's like either tragic backstory or you fall in a vat of acid and you get some kind of power, or a wizard shows up and gives you something and you have to decide if you're going to answer the call or not. Like those are kind of your 3 maybe main standard origin stories, right? Like tragedy compels you, or your tragic accident, or it's bestowed on, or like a power is bestowed on you.
Yeah. Or
some mix of
an
those.
Alien or something.
That's true, but usually there's a tragic backstory inherent in that.
That is a good point.
But you're right, that could be a 4th, a stranger in a strange land. Like, you come from another place, and now you have powers compared to the people that are on that planet, and that gives you a responsibility to use them for good, right? But I think more important than anything is just, compelling, relatable character that we can either see ourselves in or want to be, or both. But as far as power set versus origin, when you say more important, what exactly does that mean? I'm thinking important means how do you stand apart? How do you make it not generic? And I think superhero is one of the hardest categories to create a new character in that doesn't immediately draw comparison to 15 other ones. Whenever I see attempts at new superheroes outside of DC or Marvel, my eyes tend to glaze over.
Yeah.
It's just really difficult to write that thing that feels unique and different and slaps you in the face the way Spider-Man would have back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's really tough.
Especially since there are so many now.
Yeah. And Origin doesn't immediately do that for you. The first thing you see is a costume. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing you get is the premise or the theme of the thing.
Yeah.
And you don't even always open with Origin. If you actually think the thing looks interesting enough to start reading, now it's what's the status quo of that world. Maybe it starts with Origin. Very often it's what's the status quo, how does the character live, who's he fighting, what's the nemesis, that kind of thing. So in making a character feel more unique, developing a complex background is really important, and that's why I said it kind of feels maybe more important than what the power is. Maybe even beyond those two things, the most important thing is like how the gimmick is handled. It's not just power, it's idea, which I would argue like power and origin kind of come together to create much of the time, right?
No.
But I want to say origin probably like inches that out if you're already there and paying attention to it. But to get you to like want to look at it in the first place, it's like power and costume and stuff. But really hard to reinvent the wheel on power. You see that in Smallville when you look at the sheer number of powers that are used with the Crypto Freaks, that by the time you get to 6, and we occasionally will do another Crypto Freak, the powers get really weird because we're out of everything.
Yeah. The powers get really weird. You want to go to our last super chat?
I do. Let's do it.
20 Mexican pesos from Manu, and it's his 5th super chat.
We're supposed to celebrate that it's his 5th super chat. Okay. I don't know why that's like a landmark for YouTube, but YouTube gets really excited about 1st and 5th.
Yep. And then like, I think there might be like 10th, but
okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Okay. Years ago, what was the context for Because Cheese? It was a Taco Bell cup, right?
I've been asked this before. Yes, because cheese came from a Taco Bell cup. That I just thought it was the dumbest slogan.
Because cheese.
Yeah, they put it. Taco Bell put it on all their cups for a while. I used to eat a lot of fast food. I don't at all anymore. So I have no idea what Taco Bell's doing at this point. But the reason I thought it was so dumb is because first of all, in like language has degenerated so much even since then. I don't even think I would be fazed by it as much now, Jason. But at the time, this was like 8, 9, 10 years ago. It was Because Cheese with a question mark, and I'm like, that's not a sentence. You know why?
With a question mark?
Yeah, or not a question mark. It was just why did I say question mark? It was a period. But yeah, it was just because cheese. Like you're eating here because cheese. I never liked the like, you know, not a complete sentence answer to things. Like that kind of irritated me. At this point, it's everywhere, and I don't even think about it. You know what I mean? But back then, I thought it was really irritating. But the reason I thought it was so stupid, and I did a rant about it on the channel, is because it was on a drink cup. It wasn't even just the wrappers for tacos and stuff. It was on a drink cup.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not drinking this Mountain Dew because cheese.
Right. That would be disgusting.
It's exactly my thought, yeah.
Yeah, well.
That feels like a million years ago now. I can't even do that rant anymore. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, speaking of, are you ready to go to rants?
Sure, let's go to rants.
Okay, you want first or second?
I went second last time, and yours will probably be better than mine. So.
Oh, who knows? Let's see.
Okay, so my rant is about. This is a thing that I think we have complained about a lot on this channel.
Okay.
But I just want to focus on a specific thing, because a few days ago, maybe 4 days ago, something really weird happened between the relationship with YouTube and CSAC, which is a music rights company.
Oh, you told me about this.
And a bunch of songs got taken off of YouTube and YouTube Music.
Oh, sorry. I just remembered. There was a news article you wanted to do tonight. I forgot to bring it up. Can we do it next week?
Sure, let's do it next week.
I'm really sorry about that.
It's okay.
But it was not in my notes.
Yeah.
I missed it.
Yeah, it's okay. We didn't get to everything anyway, so that you wanted to.
Yeah, I got to most of it, though. We at least did the Sonic thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jason wanted to talk about some emulation issues with Nintendo. We'll do that next week.
Yeah. But yeah, so a bunch of songs came off of YouTube and YouTube Music, which is very strange because it's like it's YouTube. They have everything.
Yeah.
And now you can't play Smells Like Teen Spirit on YouTube, right? And today it all came back.
Oh, already,
which is nice, but it
what's the rant then? Yay!
I came to the conclusion.
Yeah.
I hate, and this is with everything. Why do streaming services have to like take products off? Why can't they just have a specific thing, a specific list of items that you can stream, and then and then you can add things, but like, why do you have to take things off?
Some of it's because of the way licensing works.
Yeah. It's just, why does it have to be like that?
Yeah. No,
like,
it is annoying that it is that way. Absolutely.
It is really annoying, and it's like...
But I mean, what's the alternative, like, lifetime contracts?
No, but
these are all contracted things. I mean,
right.
This is why this happens with streaming services.
Right.
Can I just say for a second, it is surreal to me that you are at an age and a maturity level that I can have this conversation with you now. 3 years ago, you'd have been like, Dad, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I just think it's...
Now, some of it is forced. Some of it is they'll take things off that they still own.
Yeah.
So that when they bring it back, they're hoping to like get new subscribers and get people to come back. So there is a strategy.
Yeah, and that's
but with things like this, it's just it's a contract thing.
Yeah, but that just kind of got me thinking, like, why do they I don't like it. Like, if I want to, say I'm paying, I don't even know what it is for Netflix anymore, but say I'm paying the money every month for Netflix, and I want to watch Back to the Future. Back to the Future's not on there. Then what the heck am I paying the money for? Oh, I guess I'll just watch Power Rangers. Oh, wait. Like, and it's like... And it's even... So, the worst one is Max.
Well, the answer is own the things you really care about.
Yeah. But, like...
it's weird the people that like, subscribe to a streaming service for like, one or two shows. Mm-hmm. They can just go out and buy them, and then they don't have to pay. Like, think about how much a year you're paying just to have... And it is nice to be able to, pull things up... like on a device when you're out somewhere. Mm-hmm. And that kind of thing. I mean, like, I continue to pay for Paramount just so that I can stream Star Trek. I own all of that, but I sometimes need to be able to watch it anywhere I am.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry.
I think the worst one of these... It's fine. I think the worst one of these is Max, because they'll take things... Like, a lot of the things that Max owns, or, like, has the rights to use, is actual things that HBO and Warner's owns.
Blame Zaslav again.
Yeah. And so it's like, well, why did you take all of the Lego movies off,
Because nobody was watching them.
Okay.
And so they go, if it's not popular enough, it's not bringing in new subscribers, and so we drop it off.
Yeah.
They don't care as much about their existing customers as they do their potential new customers, it feels like.
Yeah.
And then the counter to that is, but aren't you going to lose some of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, shouldn't that be the worry? But I don't know what their numbers are.
Yeah.
They seem to be able to justify it. They've done it ever since he came aboard.
Do you know when that was? When did he...
It's been at least, 3 years now?
Wow.
I want to say. Time is going by so fast, I don't have a good sense of it.
Yeah.
This is this surreal thing where I keep... having things that happen in like 2021, like I'm reminded of, and I'm like, oh, I thought that happened like last Thursday. It's like, oh no, it was 3 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
No, the streaming model at this point has not been all that profitable, but too many companies moved to it, so they're kind of stuck with it, and they're trying to figure out how to make it more profitable, and the whole thing feels like a scam that a lot of us are still buying into to some degree because of the sheer convenience of it.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. It sucks, and there was this like twilight period when Max started where they had all these really obscure stuff I never thought I'd have access to again, and some of it was never on disc.
Yeah.
And so the biggest travesty is like the later episodes of Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
Which are kind of like the, to be fair, the latest episodes of that stuff are impossible to parse out. I have no idea what's happening with them. They're really super trippy, and it's like the visual equivalent of taking crystal meth. Like, that's what those watch like. But still, there were 2 seasons that were never on disc except for like a print-on-demand thing they did, and so they're really expensive if you can find them now. And that was the way to watch them for a long time, and now that's gone.
Yeah. Space Ghost.
And like they don't even have Dexter's Lab anymore.
Yeah, what?
But that just finally got a full series release.
Mm-hmm. We gotta get that.
With a really pretty box set, by the way. Cartoon Network's been putting a bunch of their old stuff out lately.
Yeah, we gotta get that.
So at least you gotta hand it to Warner's with that. At least they did that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Where they're making things available that now they're not doing this with Space Ghost, but at least they're making things available that they dropped off their network. Yeah. And once you have them, you have them.
Right. What is your rant?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take your rant over. You just brought up a thing that's kind of like near to me that I'm always talking about.
Well, if you always talk about it. No, it's fine. What's your rant?
Well, I mean, was there anything else you wanted to complain about with that you didn't get to complain about?
No.
Like, it seemed like it was just, that's annoying. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's what rants are for. What's your rant about?
Jareth Gearhart, Netflix originals are really misleading. Yes, they are. And all the originals are misleading. You would think that would be stuff they own, but like everything, it's just licensed content they can remove anytime. Yeah. Okay, so my rant is going to require me to pull up something here. So recently, James Marsters was interviewed, and you know who James Marsters is?
Yeah, he's Spike.
Spike from Buffy, and Brainiac in Smallville, and he was asked if he had any interest in coming back to voice Brainiac for the proposed Smallville animated revival that Rosenbaum and Welling have been talking about for kind of years at this point. And side tangent, but I've been kind of questioning back and forth whether there's any likelihood this will happen. And there's a part of me that thinks that now that Gunn is running DC Studios, it's not as likely to happen because he's got his own vision for stuff, and like, yeah, they're doing Elseworlds things, but is he likely to bring back old properties? And then the other part of me thinks, but he and Rosenbaum are friends, and he would know better than your standard studio executive that there is a ravenous fan base for that's been watching Talkville that would really appreciate that show, and you could do a limited series on Max that would probably do okay. So I don't know, maybe it is more likely to happen. Anyway, who knows if that's gonna actually get made. But Marsters went on this tangent where he was praising Smallville for doing the exact opposite of what Smallville does. Did I show you that? Have you seen this article or this interview? So I'm gonna read this quote, and my rant is just, I wish celebrities wouldn't talk like they've seen things they obviously haven't seen, because and I love James Marsters. This quote is embarrassing.
Okay.
The man has obviously never watched the show and only knows the season he was on, which had very few crypto freaks, and he was dealing with the Kryptonian side of things. And he's talking about the premise of the show And on paper, he should be right, but he's not. And it's like the main problem with the show.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what he says. I'm gonna go up a little farther. Okay, Superman is a very difficult character. This is from CBR. Superman is a very difficult character to write because he's invulnerable. Heroism is when I help somebody, even when I have to sacrifice something to help them. That's the definition. And when you have a hero movie, you have the very most exciting part, which is when the hero has to risk his life to save someone or help someone. And that's just impossible with Superman. He's invulnerable. He's going to be fine unless you pull out kryptonite. Every Superman movie does that. That's actually not true, by the way. Man of Steel had no kryptonite.
That is a good point.
There's kryptonite somewhere, and he's got to risk death to do his thing. But with the television series, you can't pull out kryptonite every week. Marsters continued. It gets redundant so fast. It gets cheesy.
It sure does.
They sidestepped all of that by not focusing on Clark's physical vulnerability, which there is almost none of. It was all about the fact that he was a teenager and he was vulnerable to everything, and they could explore the emotional vulnerability for Superman. That's what the show should have been. It wasn't. I just thought, okay, you solved it. That's what to do. And they were able to go 10 years on that show and not be redundant. Not be repetitive. Following that, I would love to do more of that.
I would love more of that.
I made Counting Cryptofreaks based on the exact opposite of what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The reason you can count so much is because it's formulaic.
Yep.
And you know what the highest counts is? Clark on Green K. But because they weren't too redundant, he's very excited to come back to do more of that show.
Oh, man.
Can you even believe that?
I can't believe that. Mine just crashed.
I hate to throw...
My YouTube just crashed as well.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
I hate to throw Marsters under the bus like this. That is the most embarrassing quote I've read in a long time.
Yeah.
He needs to go back and watch first season. And then I want to interview him.
Yeah.
And be like, it's sure nice they sidestepped that weakness and made it more about emotional and vulnerability, right? Anyway, that's my rant. Just reading that and going, what?
Yeah, that's a good rant.
Thanks, man.
I almost made my rant just that Nintendo thing, but we can talk about that tomorrow. I mean, next week.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. We'll talk about that next week. Well, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed tonight's edition of the Captain Logan Show. And Friday night, quick plug for this, Austin and I are going to do a commentary for Joker on the Superhero Rewind Commentary Project, and then Joker 2 is this weekend. And John and I are going to try to review that at the beginning of the week. So, no, not John. I'm sorry, Robert. Robert is going to watch that for me because I like, hardly anybody on the channel wants to watch that movie, and Robert was like, I'll go see it. So Robert and I are going to talk about that on Monday.
The Joker 2?
Yeah,
okay.
And
wow.
possibly Connor will be there, but I haven't talked to him yet. So we may have a panel of 3. It might just be me and Robert. I'm not sure yet. And then tomorrow night we're doing a request, and it's an early '90s movie based on a play. I can't remember what it's called. Noises Off is the name of that. I've got to watch that here tonight or tomorrow for review. And then after that, Austin and I are going to do more of our top 100 countdown for favorite superhero movies. Cool. So lots more stuff coming to you this week on Geekvolution. Next week's going to be a little bit of a lighter week because Austin is going to be out of town for the last couple of days. So we won't have a Superhero Rewind commentary next week, but John and I are going to do a commentary on probably a horror movie because it's October, and we're talking right now about maybe doing Misery. I'm not sure yet, but that might be the thing we do. So anyway.
Be on that?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
I want to be on that.
We will see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan.
And I was Jason.
This is my son, Jason. And Jason, thanks for doing these with me, buddy. I appreciate you. Bye, everybody.